Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we are digging into an explosive legal and political battle that could shake the very foundations of the African National Congress, and possibly expose one of the most neglected scandals in South Africa's democratic history. Former President Jacob Zuma is preparing to file a perjury case against Mineral Resources and Energy Minister Gwede Mantashe. At the heart of this battle, a R40 million compensation fund that was supposed to bring justice to thousands of former mine workers suffering from occupational lung diseases, but which has instead become the center of a bitter public and legal dispute. Now, this isn't just a case of political mudslinging. It's a complex story about alleged lies under oath, deep fractures within the ANC, a growing political insurgency led by Zuma himself, and the quiet suffering of thousands of working-class South Africans whose voices have been ignored for decades. Let's start with the fund itself. Back in the early 2000s and 2010s, the crisis of occupational lung disease in the mining sector became impossible to ignore. Thousands of miners, mostly black men from rural areas, developed deadly conditions like silicosis and tuberculosis after working in unsafe conditions in gold mines across the country. For decades, they labored in toxic dust, with little protection and almost no medical monitoring. Eventually, class action lawsuits and public pressure forced the government to act. The result? A pledge to compensate the affected miners, a moral and financial obligation. Part of this commitment included the establishment of a R40 million fund under the Chairperson Trust. That money was supposed to go to the miners or their families. It was supposed to be justice, or at the very least, a start. But what actually happened? According to Minister Gwede Mantashe, speaking recently in Parliament, that R40 million was already paid out during Zuma's presidency. In other words, Mantashe is saying, don't blame the current administration for delays or shortfalls, look at Zuma. But Zuma's team says otherwise. In fact, the Jacob Zuma Foundation has accused Mantashe of outright lying under oath, and says it's preparing legal steps to hold him criminally accountable for perjury. That's not a small thing. Perjury, lying under oath, is a criminal offense. And for a sitting cabinet minister to face those charges would be unprecedented in post-apartheid South Africa. It would trigger a firestorm, not only legally, but politically. The Zuma Foundation has gone on the offensive. In a public statement, they say Mantashe has misled Parliament and the public. They claim no such fund was paid out under Zuma's leadership and are demanding that he produce proof, or face the consequences in court. They frame this as not just a legal issue but as a matter of justice for the miners who are still waiting, or who have died waiting, for compensation. And here's where things get even more serious. This legal clash is unfolding against the backdrop of Zuma's re-entry into active politics through his new party, uMkhonto weSizwe, MK Party. And make no mistake, the MK Party isn't just a vanity project. It's attracting serious attention and votes, especially in key provinces like KwaZulu-Natal and parts of Gauteng. This makes the perjury charge a double-barreled weapon, a legal challenge and a political grenade. It paints the ANC as dishonest, negligent, and out of touch with the struggles of working-class South Africans. Zuma is positioning himself as the voice of the forgotten, the sick miners, the poor, the rural voters, and this case gives him the perfect platform to do just that. At the same time, the ANC is visibly divided. On one side, you have the older, radical faction aligned with Zuma, Mantashe, and the so-called R40 forces, those who advocate for radical economic transformation and resist neoliberal policy. On the other side, the Ramaphosa camp, more technocratic, cautious, investor-friendly, with Mantashe as a key ally. The Zuma-Mantashe confrontation is about much more than a compensation fund. It's about who controls the ANC's legacy, who speaks for the working class, and who South Africans can trust. Let's also be brutally honest, this is not just politics, people are dying. Thousands of ex-mine workers are either still waiting for payouts or have already passed away. Their families, often left with nothing but a death certificate and a promise, are trapped in poverty. Many can't afford legal representation, can't navigate the Chiamiso trust bureaucracy, and can't wait another decade. So the question we should all be asking is, where did the money go? If Mantashe is right, where's the audit trail? Where are the receipts? If Zuma is right, why was Parliament misled? And more importantly, why has no one been held accountable for this ongoing failure to deliver justice to some of the most exploited people in South Africa's history? This whole saga also tells us something deeper about our politics, how truth, accountability, and justice often get lost in the fog of party loyalty and political rivalry. We've seen it with state capture. We've seen it with Marikana. We've seen it in our municipalities. And now we are seeing it in the betrayal of our mine workers. So what happens next? If Zuma moves forward with his legal case, and all signs point to the fact that it will force the ANC to either defend Mantashe publicly or distance itself from one of its most senior figures. It will also drag the issue of mineworker compensation back into the spotlight, and possibly into the courts. The political cost? Huge. With the 2026 elections approaching, the ANC cannot afford a public war between its factions. But Zuma, ever the tactician, knows that too. This is about more than legal drama. It's about political leverage. So, to wrap this all up, we are watching not just a legal case, but a reckoning for the ANC, for its internal contradictions, and for South Africa's moral compass. Zuma is forcing the nation to look again at one of its most shameful failures, the treatment of mineworkers, and he's doing it in a way that could blow the roof off the current administration. What do you think? Is Zuma fighting for real justice, or just reviving old battles for political gain? Should Mantashe be held accountable? And where is the money that was meant for these mineworkers? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, we read them all. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more in-depth South African political analysis, and share it with your friends and comrades. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you next time.